Hi everyone, welcome to the Devil's Scourge. Today we're going to discuss Joker 2019, the movie. What's so controversial about it? What could possibly be wrong with this movie? And how it correlates to Stranger Things. So stay tuned and get ready because this is going to be one hell of a crazy ride. So, I'm going to start off with a really brief history on Stranger Things. The Netflix series, well, Stranger Things started out with the working title of Montauk. A matter of fact, it was actually bought by Netflix with that title, and it was supposed to take place out on eastern Long Island, but was later changed. Why is that? Well, because it was based on the Montauk Project. And the Montauk Project was a secret government experiment, you might say, that took place out in Camp Hero on eastern Long Island. There is only one remaining survivor from the Montauk Project that is alive today. He is Stuart Surdlow, and he gives us really great insights on what these three-letter agencies, or you could say the rogue part of the government, is doing these days, because he was the original founder of mind control. And he was used as a child. He was supposed to not remember everything, but he was brilliant. He was able to deprogram himself. And then he did remember a lot as he was doing that of what happened to him. So then he goes and he teaches other people how to deprogram themselves or to even know what these triggers are that they're putting out there today. So he calls these types of archetypes and colors, he puts them all as part of hyperspace. And if you study a little bit about hyperspace, his videos, you will learn a tremendous amount. And I can say that it does seem to fit with what the government has been putting out. And it does seem to be that Q also looked and studied Stuart's videos, his video archives, his library, his hyperspace, all kinds of his hyperspace healings, programming, deprogramming videos. So if you're really interested in Q, or if you're really interested in just archetypes in general, metaphysics, psychology, any of these things, then I would say Stuart is definitely the one who's going to present to you a really interesting, in-depth picture of exactly what's going on. But today, I'm not going to go over everything about Stuart, but I'm going to tell you that everything that or a lot of the things I'm going to bring forward in this video are part of what he gave the government to start the mind control program or to initiate these different archetypes. So it will become very enlightening and understanding as to what the deep state is doing in regards to Joker 2019 and why the Army would issue a notice stating that they think that there is a potential for mass shootings to occur at an unknown movie theater during the release of the new Joker movie, which is scheduled for October 4th, 2019. So we're going to talk a little bit about this and why some people are not getting the full story in the regular media, that's out there, and what exactly Stuart has brought to us for us to learn and to understand about this particular movie. I'd like to bring your attention first of all to the color green. The color green is considered a programming color by the alphabet governments, and that is the rogue part of it anyway. And color green, especially olive green, is used for suicide and self-mutilation and, like I said, programming. So this is almost like a trigger. And that green is in pretty much every scene in this particular movie. It's almost like it has this green film to it. So this is going to be the first trigger that you'll find in all of the scenes of this movie, or at least a big portion of them from what we can tell. It seems pretty interesting that in the trailer, you see this TV set flash on the screen and it says, "We are all clowns." And it's got that green tint to it. It's definitely intentional to make it that green hue. And now you know why, because it's a trigger. And in addition to that green color, you've also got this ice blue kind of tone in it as well. Ice blue is used to communicate, it's to send a message to a person. So this is definitely a pretty interesting tactic that they've used for those that are supposed to receive this message. Okay, so we have that we are now all clowns. And in this particular scene, the clown is wearing lime green hair, which is an activation color to take action. And that action is on the sign, which is the programming language, which is everything must go. So if you look at it, it's on yellow also, which is a trigger, that bright yellow and bright red. Yellow is for jealousy with a combination of rage and even sabotage. And red would invoke anger, rage, and even commit murder. So those are the messages that you're getting from that particular sign. Once again, this is the sequence played in real time. In this particular scene, you see a clown and it's a newspaper and it says latest news on the murders. So this is once again reinforcing the fact that there are murders that are supposed to happen in this particular sequence. And the Joker says, "For my whole life, I did not know I even existed, but I do, and people are starting to notice." And you see you have this figure with a mask who's wearing a mask in a taxi cab. And this is one of the reasons, or this could be another trigger, and that's one of the reasons why the Army issued a warning about there being mass murders in movie theaters in regards to this movie. Sequence 1 is suggesting that perhaps you should wear the mask and you can cause chaos in the subway or somewhere where there's a public area of transportation. And through all of this, you wind up being recognized and noticed. In one of the final scenes of the trailer, you see that they are asked to send in the clowns, and the clowns are literally at a movie theater. And you can see the prevalent colors in this particular sequence, which is very short. And you can see the yellow and the red and the lime green. And you can also see the suggestion here of causing some sort of chaos at a theater. So I think that's the reason why the Army issued the warning that they did, and rightfully so. I could see where this would actually be another trigger. Stewart also talks about subconscious messages. It seems that, or it is true, that your brain records everything. For instance, if you were to look at a bookcase and then turn away, believe it or not, your mind records everything on that bookcase. So if you could freeze it or pause it, you would be able to read every title on that bookcase just from that glance. So that information is stored in your mind. You might not have access to it, but it's there and it is stored for you. So knowing this, they've used this subliminally to get certain messages across. And we're not going to go into a lot of the subconscious messages that are in this movie. There's just so much between the music and, like I said, the subconscious stuff. You could write a thesis on this movie. I am convinced that, it is a clown operation, which is code for CIA. So CIA is the one who actually put this together. And so it could be a thesis paper. But I'm just going to throw out two simple examples for you. One of them is the notepad that you see in the actual movie, and it does have some characteristics that would appeal to the individual that's supposed to receive this message. So you can go ahead and do a little bit of searching and on the internet and do your own kind of research as to, a little bit about those individuals. honestly, I'm here to show the triggers so that people don't wind up falling into that trap. Because I don't think anyone should be treated like that. That's not fair. You should make your own decisions and you should have a thought process behind what you do and not be part of some operation or some experiment put together that they're going to decide to, put out there in the world, in the theater, and see what happens. So that's why I did this particular YouTube video. And then there's the therapist, Deborah Kane. Yes, she's in the Batman movie series, but it also brings to mind, or it could bring to mind, that she was a caseworker, a type of therapist, and that she was investigating a pedophilia playground. So that's also another trigger that's in there that you wouldn't necessarily know consciously. And finally, we have the Joker. His name is Arthur Fleck. And of course, that could also mean an author of a small particle of light. Do you believe in coincidences? Do you think this movie is an activation or a trigger of some sort? Do you think that they should have issued a memo or put out the warning that maybe this could cause mass shootings in theaters? I'd love to hear your opinion. And I'd also love to hear some of the things that you see in these trailers, or even if you go see the movie, anything at all that you think that could be a trigger. Why don't you just put it in the comments below? I'd love to hear from you. Until later, thanks so much for listening. Bye.